Sit. This is Duncan. This is Duncan's roadmap to success. This is going to be a short one. He's a really well-behaved dog. I've worked with about 4,000 dogs. This is the first and only time I've ever actually skipped a lot of the things I go over because he does things so well. The video above, we talked about the tips to get him to stop lunging at the TV. A couple other things I want to go over real quick that'll help the guardians. They're doing a good job on rules and structure, but a couple things that you can do, I would make sure that you're eating yourself before you feed him. Preferably what I do is I put the food in the bowl and he's not allowed to eat it. Then I go eat something at 5 more bites or a real meal, then I invite him to come over and eat it. When he takes his first bite of food, come up with a word that means to eat. For 3 months, every time he takes his first bite of food, say the word sushi, or whatever the word is you want to use. After a while, when I hear sushi, that means I go eat food, so it becomes a command word. I have a lot of my clients, every time the dog drinks water, they assign a word. I have one guy calls it martini, another one calls it Merlot. And so again, it's helpful if you guys are on a hike and you cross a stream and there's not going to be any water for a while, you don't have a vessel, you can command him to drink and he knows what it is that you want from him. So use passive training right there, come. Every time he licks you, pet him and say kisses. Every time he sits, pet him and say sit. Every time he lays down, pet him and say crash or chill or whatever the word is you use. So what it is, we just want to reward him for the desired actions and behaviors that he does when he does them organically. Now that's what I call passive training. Petting with a purpose is the other thing where I go, let's say he was nudging me for attention. Sit. Sit, that was the chair, not me. And then say sit as you pet him. So what I do is I hold my hand like this in an arc, and that usually puts their butt down. And the lower you go, the more it's for him. So raise it over, arc over his head. This is the part where you sit down, buddy. Let me fake like I'm getting a treat because he is a little bit motivated, and I would say willful, but yes, sit. Yeah, I fooled you that time, but you will get a treat for that. Sit. Remember, every time you give him a treat, say the command word after the treat goes into his mouth. That makes it a stronger lure. So for petting with a purpose, if he comes and touches you and nudges you with his nose or scratches or barks for attention, instead of doing what he wants and confirming to him, yes, you're the boss of me, no, if you want attention from me, you have to earn it, and you have to earn it through a currency of obedience. Sit. I like the tail going down, but I would like the butt to go down. Sit. So what we're saying is when you tell the human what to do, nothing happens, but the human tells you what to do and you do it, you get a reward. After a while, the dog is motivated, and the dog will come and sit in front of you to ask for attention. Now, I also have a watch word, I call it paycheck. I was telling this to a woman in Santa Monica, like on the north side of Montana, and she's petting a little Bichon on the couch, and she goes, I have a question for you. Because I told her, you shouldn't pet your dog at all unless it does something earned. She goes, I go, okay, stop petting your dog real quick. She goes, okay. But I mean, I'm a woman, I like petting dogs, that makes me feel good, and I shouldn't have to ask my dog to sit. I'm like, you're petting your dog? I'm sorry. That's right, just hold off on petting your dog till we get done. She goes, okay. But I also have hypertension. The doctor said that petting a dog can actually lower my blood pressure. You're petting your dog? 3 times in a 15-second window of me asking her not to and her intending not to pet her dog, she involuntarily reached over to pet her dog. So I have a watchword for this. I call it paycheck. So if someone comes in the room and sees that I'm petting him like this and they say paycheck, if I argue, no, I asked him to sit, when you opened the door, he stood up and I continued petting, the dog's like, well, he's on one page, David's on one page, I can be on my own page too. So that person comes in and says, paycheck, I go, sit, sit. Actually, I asked him to sit before you came in. When you flushed the toilet, he stood up and I continued petting him, but thank you for reminding me. It's just a gentle reminder because we won't realize how often we pet without a purpose. If you get into the habit of petting with a purpose and passive training, every time you pet your dog, 3 things happen that are really important. First of all, it boosts the dog's confidence because it's earning the pet rather than giving the pet for free. Number 2, it increases the dog's respect for you as an authority figure because when I tell you what to do, nothing happens. But if you tell me what to do and I do it, I get hooked up, I get rewarded. So I'm therefore more motivated to listen to you in other situations in the future. Third thing it does, it helps him practice the sit. Even though he can sit great here, if the kids get out of school and there's a whole bunch of kids screaming running down the sidewalk, he's not going to be able to sit because that's a more difficult situation. So if you get in a habit of petting with a purpose and passive training, every time you pet your dog, it becomes a micro training session that increases its respect for you, boosts its self-esteem, and helps it practice. Sit. This is a want-to thing. Sit. So he knows what the auditory cue is. He's selective as to whether or not he wants to listen to it. So I'd like you guys to play a little hard to get with him. Ask him to do anything, or don't ask him. Tell him, sit. 1, 2, 3. If he doesn't sit by 3, go on and find something else to do. After he starts missing out enough, then it's going to motivate him to want to listen to you, because otherwise they're not begging me anymore. They're on to other things. A lot of dogs learn to not behave because that gives the dog leverage over us, because then we'll ask them to do it multiple times or we'll go to them. So do it, ask once, otherwise I'm on to other things. Let me see. Another rule that I have is if I'm going out the door with the dog can never go in front of me. For dogs, whoever's in front is perceived to be the leader. So if your dog goes to the door, make it go away before you open the door. And I have videos on my website if you want to teach your dog to wait at an open door to go out. He's really well behaved, but I think the guardians need to do a little bit of fine tuning. I would probably look into upping his exercise. His exercise is good. He gets about an hour walk, but it's a once. I would rather see like 3 20-minute walks if we can. We went over teaching him to drop, which is really just when he has a high value item in his mouth, touch his nose with the object, with a treat, don't tell him what to do. And as soon as he drops, pop the treat in his mouth, don't pick the item up. And do that anytime he has a ball or a bone or something he's allowed to have at any point. So that way, eventually you say drop and he just spits it out, because you've proven to him, you're not here to take my stuff. If I drop, you give me something better than I have and I get my original stuff back. That's a pretty good deal. Sit. So no reward, no treat, but no chastisement, no correction either. And after a while of not getting what he wants, he's more motivated to do what he wants to do. I'm trying to think. This is a really easy session, because usually the clients have done so many things that are wrong, it takes me a long time to go through it. So what I want to do is I'm going to do both these. I'll put both these videos on my website. I'll create a page for you guys, and that's where you're going to watch these. But if you have any questions, new issues, even if stuff we didn't go over here, I don't care if it's 5 seconds after I walk out the door or 5 years from now, call me or text me, sit. That'd be good passive training. There you go. Go ahead. Oh, no,
sorry.
That's fine. Actually, he did it to ask. But when he sat, I would have probably petted him to say sit. But the guardian actually gave him a reward to come up on the furniture after that. And that was great, too. So if you have any questions or problems, please text me or call me. The number I called you from is my primary cell. I'm going to give you a couple business cards, but those are my office number. I want you to call me directly if you guys have any questions or problems. But he's a great dog. The only other thing I would look for is try to find him some buddies. He's kind of aloof with dogs. Some dogs he'll play with a minute, but that's it. If you can find some dogs in your neighborhood or around work or whatever that's convenient, try to go for walks together. Mm-hmm. After they've been on walks together enough times, sometimes they're more interested in doing that. Sometimes you work out with someone enough times, you see them at the gym all the time, and you're just like, man, let's go grab a beer afterwards. And you become buddies. So sometimes those things happen, and it'd be helpful, even though he gets along great with his guardians, it'd be nice if he had some peers that he can wrestle with and roughhouse with and all the rest of that fun stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Then we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Let me get him to come over here. Duncan, come. Look at that enthusiasms. Sit. Well, this handsome, all the way from the UK, by the way. Where was he born again?
Wales.
He was born in Wales, yes. And he's a UK dog living here in the US. This is a Duncan, and this is Duncan's roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.